Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
We are in our apartments for a number of reasons. There's a pandemic. I don't know if anyone knew, but it's hard to find a quiet dive bar to record from. And also, it was 90, what, 2, 3 today in San Francisco?
Yeah, I think right now it's 85. But yeah, imagine that you are that person out there, that listener, that podcast listener, that you actually discover that there is a pandemic going on through a podcast 6 months later. He's like, wait, what is that?
Is that why everyone's wearing masks?
Yeah, I mean, if you are that person, thank you. Thank you that we are your window to the real world.
And you're welcome for letting you know what's going on.
But please just expand your selections of podcasts. You deserve that.
Just don't check Fox News. Go straight to the New York Times. Figure out what's going on.
I think that even Fox News recognizes now that there is a pandemic. We are at the point that it's like, yeah, maybe this is a pandemic. It's no longer like a couple of people sick.
Republicans had 6 months to catch up, so they're probably about to...
They're at the beginning now. They're recognizing that this may be a pandemic. So what do we watch today?
We watched Alejandro González Iñárritu. Sorry about my R's. I'm very Anglo-Saxon. His first film, as I understand it, right? It was his very first feature film. Is that true?
Let me just check. Short. Amores Perros, yeah?
Yeah,
you're right.
So I read that in a review today. So it's his first film. It did the film festival circuit in 2000, and I think that it got a theatrical release, at least in America, in the United States of America, in 2001. But it was considered for the 2000 Oscars. Is that right? Is that when it was nominated?
I think so. Did he actually win?
It got it. I don't think it won, but it got nominated.
I mean, now I have to actually just check. I feel a bit embarrassed that I didn't check who won that year.
It was nominated for one Oscar.
In 2001, 2001 award for... Oh, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's that's interesting. But best actor that year, you know who he was? Russell Crowe for Gladiator.
Oh, that was such a good movie. So good.
Yeah, so that's just so.
So this was actually Jose added this to our to watch list, but then
you pick it.
Stole it last week. So for our constant listeners, you don't know that Jose has been on vacation for the last 7-8 days touring Arizona and Utah's beautiful national parks. So we haven't seen each other for 9-10 days. And I have just been waiting for the chance to see you face to face to discuss this.
Well, face to face, Zoom face to face.
Zoom face to face.
So tell me, why did you pick this movie? Because it was your pick after I added it to the list.
Yeah, it was my pick, and I am completely unashamed to say that I am 100% in love with Gael Garcia Bernal. He's just like...
So dreamy.
He's so dreamy. And then we just watched him...
In The Science of Sleep?
In A Science of Sleep, but I just watched him in something even more recent where he has the salt and pepper hair and he has the
Monster in the Jungle?
I did not watch that. Anyway, he just gets better with age. He's like a fine wine. Damn. So I did pick him because of that. I picked it because I know it's a movie you like. I know the director, obviously. I know that it has very good reviews and it's held up over time, I think. I think people still regard it as a classic. And it's 20 years ago this year that it was released.
Yeah, that's true. It was in 2000. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, so I had to say that I watched this one when it came out. It was huge in Spain. Everyone watched it. Well, it was also huge because one of the main actresses, Goya Toledo, the one that plays the model, she's from Spain. She's a famous Spanish actress. And I would say that probably for Gael García Bernal, he already did Y tu mamá también, I think.
which is where he stole my heart, just to be honest.
No, actually, Tu Mamá También is from the following year. It's 2001.
Yeah, I don't think I knew him
Yeah.
in 2000 because I
So-
was still in Idaho.
Yeah, so basically is that this is like his first breakthrough, is like where people in Spanish-speaking countries start like just getting familiar with Gael Garcia Bernal, and it's like it's one, I mean, or basically the biggest star in the movie. By nowadays standard, is like when you think about like the rest of the actors and actresses, even Goya Toledo, that she was pretty popular, you know, back then, is like she didn't do anything on the same level as this movie.
I don't think I recognized any of the actors. In fact, I know I didn't, besides Gael. And so I'm sorry, how do you pronounce his name?
Gael Garcia Bernal.
Gael. And then I thought that I maybe recognized El Chivo, but I couldn't be sure because he looked so different.
The friend, his friend.
No, the assassin.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, I couldn't recognize him. If he's like in something else, I don't know. I think that's. I mean, I checked like the cast to see if they did anything else, and most of them they did like other Mexican stuff, but none of them actually does.
So looking at Gael's
Oh.
IMDb page, The King is what I fell in love with him in, which I think is complete trite now, but I loved it when it came out. And then The Science of Sleep, and then Babel, and then Blindness, which I was obsessed with. So, and then Mammoth. Oh, and then The Limits of Control. He had a good run. He had a good run.
So you love everything that he is speaking.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't remember him from Babel.
From which one?
From Babel. Gael Garcia Bernal, and also the actor Emilio Echevarria, that is the one that plays El Chivo. He's
I remember him
also in
because
Babel.
he's like they go south of the border and he kills the chicken in front of the kids.
Oh,
I like to.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But
Apparently it's Tower Babel. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I suppose the guy Garcia Bernal is also in Babel, and I don't remember him.
Yeah, that's the movie he's in where he kills the chicken in front of the American kids and they're all
Gotcha.
horrified.
No, but I'm asking El Chivo. El Chivo's actor is called Emilio Echevarria, and according to his credits, he's supposed to be in Babel too.
Oh, I don't know.
But maybe when they actually, maybe what Alejandro González Iñárritu did is that when they cross south of the border, is that they just throw all the Mexican actors that he knows. Is yeah, I know all these people. Just throw them there.
Put him in the
Do
movie.
something. Yeah. So as you actually picked this one, I guess that is my time to summarize.
Yeah, tell me what this movie is about.
This is one of these beloved movies about like cross stories, but this one is not like shortcuts or any of these ones that they're like thousands of small stories. They're only like 3 stories, and they show like snippets of each story when they're focusing on the other ones. So the 3 main stories is that this young girl that he goes still to classes, like maybe it's like 17-year-old. She already has a baby, and she's just living with her mother-in-law and with his husband and his brother-in-law. That his brother-in-law is Gael Garcia Bernal, and she's in love with her. So
He's in love with her, right?
yeah, exactly. He's in love with her, and it looks like she's also in love with him. But we'll get to that later. So he tries to actually get money for them to run away, and he gets his dog to fight in dog fights for just getting money. So just betting and just getting the money from it. Now the second story is with Goya Toledo, that is a famous Spanish actress and model. And she's a model that she has like an affair. Well, she's not married, so it's not an affair. She's in love with this guy that is married and actually leaves his wife for her.
And 2 daughters.
And 2 daughters. He also has 2 daughters. And then he gets into an accident that leaves her in a wheelchair, and at the end ends up with actually just costing her her leg. But she gets into this accident because Gael Garcia Bernal is running away with his dog after stabbing a guy.
After the dog fighter who shot Gael's dog, and then Gael stabbed that guy, and then they were in a car chase, and that car
crashes against like this model's car. So she actually is just recovering. So her story is about like the recovery and how her dog gets below the hardwood.
Jesus Christ, when you say it out loud.
It's like so convoluted just for the sake of being convoluted, but it actually works. It's a bit more like they're like three complete independent movies. These two stories, I think that they were like way better than the third one. So now for the third one. The third one is this story of this background, or he's not really homeless because he has a home, but he happens to be a hitman that you can just hire his service for just killing someone. And he has like a group of dogs, and it's like the idea that if you have like a group of dogs and you are like just picking up trash, you are invisible to society. But
Rilla, 20 years ago, he abandoned his wife and kids to fight their cause and went to jail for 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, but the background of his life is that he used to be like a family man, and one day he basically decided to just give up on everything because he wanted to be a guerrilla member. So his family
believed in it. He genuinely believed in it.
Whatever. So the idea is like the family pretended for him to be dead, completely just remove it from his life. The woman just move on with his life and just marry someone else. He ended up in prison for 20 years, and when he came out, is that basically he's doing these hitman businesses. And the funny thing is, like, even like one policeman is the one that is like just finding potential hits for him, and he just drives there for some kind of commission. So his story is about like a guy, a businessman that wants to kill someone for him, that is his partner, and but at the same time he's also not connecting, but it's like his ex-wife died, and he tries in some kind of weird way to reconnect with his daughter. So he starts stalking the daughter, but then at the same time he adopts or steals, or I don't know exactly how to call it, his Gael Garcia Bernal dog. And Gael Garcia Bernal,
he witnesses the car crash, and he loves dogs, and the dog with the bullet in him is there, so he tries to save him, which he does. He does save.
He's to save him, but at the end, he's like basically the dog kills, as he's actually just trained nowadays for killing other dogs. He basically kills all his dogs in a very moving scene. He's about to kill the dog with a gun to his head, and he's like, no, I can't, and he basically just kills the dog. Then he kidnaps the guy that was paying him.
Hey, but I want to just take a step back there. It's not that he's like, oh, I can't kill my dog. I think there was a bit more of an elevated moment about he realized that he's just as much a killer as his dog was, and there's nothing to do for either of them but just clean up the mess and move on.
Yeah, no, that's true. He also realizes about like what he has been doing, and he's like, okay, I cannot keep doing this. And then he kidnaps the guy that he was being contracted by, and then he leaves this guy and his half-brother, that he was the target, in a room with a gun, about like, you guys, let's just solve your differences, almost in a scene that looks like Saw. And he just steps away.
I'm pretty sure they stole that premise from this movie.
Yeah, and then he just walks away. There is no resolution to that part. He leaves all the money that he has been saving in his daughter pillow, and leaves some kind of message on her answering machine about like, oh, I'm really sorry about that, and he just moves away. And he walks into the right zone.
He walks into like a tar field. It's just like a black field. That's it. We just see him and the dog walk off. Yep.
So there is no real resolution. The only thing that we know is for Gael Garcia Bernal, his brother dies. He tries to just steal a bank, and then the police shoots him. And we see like the ceremony, the funeral, and Gael Garcia Bernal tries to just get away with the wife. That, by the way, I forgot to mention this. His sister-in-law actually steals all the money that he was saving for running away with his stepbrother. He actually gets betrayed by that, and is that there is no real reason.
Still hopeful.
But he's still hopeful because he's dumb. I'm like, no, 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 now you can run away from me. Just meet me tomorrow in the bus station. And she doesn't show up. So there is no real resolution there either. It's a bit more like, well, that's it. That's it. And is there real resolution? There is no real resolution. That's something that I didn't remember. For the Colla Toledo story, I thought that actually his lover, her lover, I thought that he could go back with his ex-wife.
So
but he doesn't.
So that, in my opinion, the fact that he was calling the ex-wife and hanging up, that's clearly like, okay, he's ready to move. It's exactly what he did with the girlfriend. He would call him. He wouldn't say anything. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but there is no real like resolution to that.
Yes.
We don't know
nothing.
it. We don't know it. That's a story that is completely left in the air. The guy Garcia Bernal is like is not really left in the air. It's like we only know that the girl doesn't want to run away with him, even with the husband death. She won't do it.
Poor Gail.
Yeah.
Poor Gail.
Yeah, poor
I would
Gail.
not have left him at that bus stop.
I mean, I wouldn't have left the money with her. I would have sold the money. It's like, I have this money. I'm going to save it. I'm not going to be like telling you where it is. If you want it, we have to run away together. And then the story of the El Chivo is that we only know that he leaves all the money with her, and that's it.
Yeah,
with the daughter.
He has a final scene where he's like saying goodbye to a friend, and we don't even know who that friend is. Like, they're just like, okay, he's leaving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the guy from the how do you say, like the car. I don't know how to say this in English. El desguace.
Like mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a mechanic, man.
The garage.
It's not really a garage. It's like where you actually just take cars for just selling it by parts.
Oh, okay. A junkyard.
Yeah, it's a junkyard. Yeah. So it's like pretty clear that they know each other. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be like this, laying low, blah blah blah, and he just walks away into the horizon. It's like we don't know exactly what happened, but it's like pretty clear that we don't know what happened with the two guys, with the two stepbrothers, if they kill each other or not. I mean, like we don't care. It's not really like the center of the story.
And tell me, Jose, what is the center of the story?
The center of the story, I mean, I would say that love is a bitch.
Oh, God.
I mean, I felt like almost offended about like the title that they chose for it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Is that these are like 3 stories about love that doesn't work in the way that we expect it to.
The New York Times review was like, sure, there's an obvious title here, Love is a Bitch, but then there's also this other title, Love is a Dog. And you kind of highlighted this, but all 3 of the vignettes, each of the characters within them are heavily, heavily, heavily influenced by dogs, or their dogs' actions, or wanting to go after dogs. Regardless of which title you subscribe to, Life is a Bitch, or Love is a Bitch, or Love is a Dog, it's just so on the nose.
Look, even in Spanish, Amores Perros is the same thing. I mean, the thing is that we use perros for something that is not ideal. You know, that is something that is like just silly. You know, and in this case, it's like everything is silly. It's like a wordplay. On the idea is like, okay, they are dogs, but at the same time, everything is a silly love story.
Yeah. Well, these were 3 shitty love stories. So let's go through. Since this is his first film, I want to see how many we've seen together. Have you seen 21 Grams? Yes,
yep.
We both. Babel, whatever.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Birdman.
Yep.
The Revenant.
Yep. I watched all of them.
Are there any that I didn't mention that you have seen?
No, I didn't watch the shorts. Or at least I think that I haven't.
So you and I have a similar, we have exactly the same experience with Iñárritu's body of work, right?
Yep. Yeah. Now, there are like 2 things to highlight here that I mentioned before we started watching this. Is like, I like 21 Grams. I liked it. And I will be willing to watch it again. I thought that Babel was a bit weaker. That is, okay, you are like really stretching the idea of cross stories here, but sure, you still want to do this. Now, when he did Beautiful, it was the first movie that he didn't do with Guillermo Arriaga writing the script. And it was like one of those cases. The reason why I wanted to watch this movie after the other ones is because I think that he was a director. That's a director. He's good. He's a good director. But it was pretty clear that whoever was driving like the vision, it was the screenwriter. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like Beautiful. It was a bit more like he trying to imitate the style that Guillermo Arriaga had. And that movie was a fucking train wreck.
So did they get back together for Birdman?
No,
They were just
no. But that was the thing, is that that's exactly what we're talking about, Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry. That is like he actually just learned about like how to do a story. There's like, look, I don't need like 100 stories or like 3 stories that they're like pretty differentiated. Because this movie, Amores Perros, you could have done 3 different movies out of it.
Well, I think you could have 2 movies and a short.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's like, but in any case, they're like 3 different stories that they have like a body of itself. They have like a core of itself. Is that you are just connecting them just for the sake of connecting them. But they're like 3 solid stories by themselves.
Yeah.
But when you go to Beautiful, it's like none of them is solid. None of them. Is all of them like just ridiculous.
So I remember 21 Grams, kind of this gimmick of 3 stories connected by a single event. I remember absolutely thinking Beautiful was a complete piece of shit.
Yep.
But I don't remember it following the same pattern of 3 stories connected by a single event or multiple stories connected by a single event. It was?
It was because I don't know if you remember. I only remember like 2 of them. Is one of them is like the Bardem, like being the father of this family. He's also a hitman or something like that. But there is also this Chinese guy that he is like a closeted gay. That he's like also like a family man.
So I saw this in theaters and it came out in 2010. So I haven't seen that one in 10 years.
I mean, I remember like just being so bad and feeling so infuriated by it that is like, holy shit, this is bad. And I watched it in Barcelona, actually.
So I saw that in theaters and I had to drive an hour each way to the movie theater. And I just remember thinking, I just wasted 5 hours of my life. Like, this is... No.
Is that movie, it was like, you cannot write a script. It's like writing a script about like interconnected stories is not as easy as you think.
So, not to jump ahead of ourselves, but I just need to know if you liked this movie.
I liked it. I think that if you had asked me like 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I watched it the first time, I would be like just mind blown by it. I would tell you that, look, this is amazing, all the acting is amazing, all the story is amazing. I think that after we have seen like so much really good films here, I felt like this is good, but as I told you, that there is no need for doing this as a single story. It's like I could actually have split each one of them. It's not like shortcuts. It's like shortcuts. I felt like there is a point for you doing like so many stories together. In this point, is like the only reason why you're doing this is because you are using the gimmicky of just cross stories. You are not as bad as Crash, of course. Nothing is as bad as Crash. But I think that these stories could actually, if you have like a more solid screenwriting, you could have made 2 stories out of this.
So I completely agree with you. The only reason why I cut him some slack on kind of the gimmick thing is because this is his first film. So I can see like you're a first-time filmmaker and you're like, oh, I've got this great idea, 3 completely separate stories connected by one event. Like, I can forgive him for that. But you and I like to bring up 2 directors often. One of them is Michael Haneke, whom I believe is a staple. And compared to any Michael Haneke film, Iñárritu wanted to make me feel like shit for 2.5 hours, and he succeeded. He showed me endless dead dogs. He showed me Crush 3. He showed me just awful, awful people doing awful things to each other, and he feels like he can justify that by showing that these are real complex people. But at the end of the day, they're just shitty people doing things for the wrong reasons. And I don't understand what I was supposed to take away from this after 2.5 hours of watching these horrible things.
No, no, I agree with you. I don't think that it's a movie about a message. I don't think that he was like just thinking about a message overall. I mean, the only message that I can think about is that love can make you unhappy. Love is not something that it can. It's that when you think about like love songs, they're going to be like elevating you. Love is going to be like making you a better person. It's like no one is actually just made a better person on this movie because of love.
Okay, so if there wasn't a lot of substance, what you should have is style, and he did have style. A lot of reviews I read were like, this is the Mexican Tarantino, which you can see the influences of Pulp Fiction, but at least there's like beauty in Tarantino's films. If there was no substance, is the style enough to make this film worth it?
I mean, I think, look, I don't fully agree that there is no substance. I don't think that there is an overall message. But I think that like each one of the stories hold their ground. The problem is that when you actually just combine them together, that it almost feels like the link between the stories is not strong enough. It's like, so I cannot get an overall message, but each one of these stories per se is solid enough.
So if you said you've seen this is your 4th time?
Probably 4th, yeah.
If you were to say, I've watched this movie 4 times because of this, what is it? Because
I think that is well made. I think that is like for a movie that is not like an incredible budget or anything like that. It's well acted. I think that the script is good. The characters, they have like some kind of development and they are like more or less believable. And also I think that is like I got some slack, maybe, to Mexican directors when they are trying to do like a realistic Mexican movie.
And why is that? That's a weird reason to give them slack.
Sure, yeah, but it's like just let me speak. It's like I think that is like just culturally when we think about Mexican people, and I don't want this to sound like racist or anything, but it's like from Spain, is that when we think about Latin America cinema, is that we're always going to think that they're going to be like producing something that is like so localized that I'm not going to be like appreciating like real art here. And I think that there is like real art here. When I think about like him as a director, there is an artistic view on this movie. And the script is actually solid enough. If it's not as good as it could be, true, that's true. Is that this is actually just missing like what shortcuts are. There is a look, there are like plenty of stories, they're interconnected in some kind of way. But I think that, for example, like the camera work, and the kind of scenarios that they are like just devising, it's true that it actually sort of like drinks a lot from Scorsese and Tarantino about like that kind of frantic movement of the camera. That is like, sure, you are not doing like anything extremely crazy here, like Crazy New, but it's like I can see how you keep evolving until doing Bergman.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. And it's interesting because I agree with a lot of what you said, but I do like Babel, which is a pretty unpopular opinion. And I thought that, I don't know, at least I got some emotion out of Babel.
You got emotion from Babel and you didn't get it from this?
The only emotion I felt, and honestly, I think because the first third of the movie, so many dogs get in fights and are shot and murdered that I was like, okay, I have to keep this movie at an arm's distance because I don't see any value in seeing that many dead dogs or dog fights. And he clearly wanted to shove that in my face for an hour. And I was like, okay, well, I don't, what am I supposed to, what do I get? This is not beautiful. It doesn't make me feel anything like these people are disgusting those poor dogs.
Well, that's an interesting thing because when I watched it the first time, I felt shocked about the dead dogs, but at the same time, I rolled with it. I just felt like, okay, yeah, they're the dogs, they're dog fights, it's fine. We just move on,
No, I had to look at two dogs sitting on the couch next to me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. This isn't okay. I'm sorry you had to watch this.
Sure. But it's like every single time that I watch it, I felt like more and more shocked about those scenes. Even to this time that I was checking, is like, okay, was there any animal hurt? I'm pretty sure that the last couple of times that I watched it, I actually checked that information. But I got to the point of actually just saying, like, how come did this actually happen? And what I was reading is that I didn't see any documentary or anything, but it's like basically they had like muscles or some kind of, like for just avoiding them to hurt. It's like, look, there is like proof that they couldn't hurt each other. They were actually just playing. And all the effect is actually with the camera. That is one more reason what I think that is like from the directing perspective, this is pretty good. For actually just make you feel like that kind of reaction to the dogs fighting or the dogs dead.
I just feel like, okay, maybe he's incredibly talented. Why would he choose his talent to show dogs killing each other? And what does that give me? It's like, maybe Hitler was a great public speaker, but he also...
murdered a lot of people. But, I mean, that's the part, is like, I'm not completely sure if it's a bit more of a gimmicky thing about like, okay, if I cannot make you feel anything with the stories, maybe I can make you feel something with the dead dogs.
So I get that. I just don't understand the value of the emotions I felt watching so many dogs abused.
But they were not abused. They were not really abused.
What he wanted me to see was dogs ripping each other's throats out. And why? Why should I watch that? What in this movie made the ugliness worth it? I don't know. I don't think that there's anything personally from me. But I don't know. I liked Babel, so...
Look, the problem that I have with Babel is that basically each one of the stories is so disconnected from the others. Like the Japanese girl. The Japanese girl is my favorite story of all of them.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, but it's so disconnected from everything else that I felt like, look, the only part that I like about this movie, and I love Brad Pitt, I love Kate Blanchett, is that my favorite part is the one that doesn't involve them at all.
Which is Giles?
No, which is the Japanese girl.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's like that one is like, it's just so far-fetched, the connection, that you are almost like spending the whole movie like just expecting, like, why are you displaying this story?
Yeah, that does feel like more of a gimmick than Amores Perros.
Yeah. In Amores Perros, at least you actually see that, okay, that guy is going to be like getting into an accident with this woman, and this woman, her whole life is going to be like just changed by this. And then you have a hitman that is just there. Is that even in my brain, when I was watching this movie, I was thinking, is that, oh yeah, then there is some kind of connection between Gael García Bernal and Goya Toledo. Is that, no, there is no other connection. It's only the accidents, yeah. From that perspective, I felt like this is a bit of a gimmick, is that that's my problem with this movie. It's like now that I can just, that we come for actually just talking about scripts, like about like very solid scripts that they are like just trying to connect one thing with another. I felt like this is weak.
Yeah, I mean, weak at best, the connection points.
Yeah, is that the connection points are weak. The story themselves are not weak per se, but the overall kind of, okay, having like a 2 hours and 20 minutes movie is weak, because you could have done like 2 70-minute movies and I will be fine with that.
Do you know what I kept thinking through watching this film? Is that I was going to tell you that it's melodrama. 100% melodrama, but elevated. And I said to myself, I think I finally understand how you feel about 6 Feet Under.
So you think that is the same thing as a soap opera?
I think you see 6 Feet Under as melodrama, it's basically a soap opera, elevated, right? Yeah. That's what you say. I think it's more than that. But with Amores Perros, I think it's just slightly elevated melodrama.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference is that soap operas is a TV medium. Is that this is a drama, it's a melodramatic drama.
This was like a telenovela on HBO.
I mean, I would say that it's a bit beyond that. When you get to the Hitman, I agree with that because the part is like when he started like just stalking the daughter, it's like, come on, man. And he's like, what is the value of this? You know? So, I mean, I had to say that it's like, I like it. I think that it's not a bad movie, you know, and it's like at that point when he was doing this kind of cross stories, it was still like something that it felt like a novelty. It felt a bit more like, okay, it's not a gimmick. There is something more to it.
I'll admit that didn't bother me at all. The connection, it's not a negative for me.
Yeah, it's like for me nowadays, I feel like, come on, I'm so tired. I think that is like just when, how did you say, when Crash came out, you know, in 2004.
This movie feels like Crash.
Because there is a Crash. But when Crash came out, is like that movie completely fucked up that format. It's like it was basically like a Crash of the connected stories format. It's like we are dumb. We are dumb. If you're going to be like doing,
explored this.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to be like doing another Cross Stories movie, holy shit, it has to be good. It has to have like a good reason for doing this because Crash, after winning the Oscar to Best Movie that year, it's like just they just bring that format down so much that it's a miracle that then
like
Alejandro.
The second act.
I don't even remember too much about the movie. I don't remember.
No, the second act of Amores Perros, where it's basically a cautionary tale about the cheating man. If he leaves his family, his supermodel wife is going to get crushed in a car, and their dog will disappear beneath the floors.
I mean, I just look. That part of the story. I didn't dislike it. You know, I thought that is okay. I understand like this model that is just put into that situation that your life is so swallow that it's just based on your body. So what are you going to do now that your body is basically destroyed and the only moral support that you have is your dog and your dog disappears? What are you going to do?
Or you throw a ball down?
Yeah, it's also your fault. It's your fault for not covering the hole, but sure. I understand that part I didn't have too much of a problem with. Is that my problem is with the last part. There is a look, your moral of the story comes from the guy that is trying to kill his stepbrother, and now the father that he was a guerrilla guy, now he's going to be like the moral compass for both of them. Is just fuck it. That's the point that I felt like this is just falling down.
Because it's exactly what he was saying. Like, I'm going to show you all of this crazy stuff, and I'm going to make you think there will be a finale. But no, I'm going to leave it up to you to what you think this should happen.
So, personally, I like it.
So would you watch it again?
Yeah, I watch it again. Yeah, I would recommend this movie. Yeah, I think that artistically it has something, but I don't think that from a substance perspective it has too much. You know, I think that it's like a. Do you like Ciudad de Deus?
I don't know who that is.
Ciudad de Dios, City of God.
Oh yeah, I love that film. But it's also very brutal in the same way.
Yeah, but do you think that there are like some parallels with this?
To be honest, I don't remember City of God that much. It's been so long. So I can't say. I don't remember the story.
Maybe we should watch it. But... The what?
I said put it on the list.
I will put it on the list. But I think there is another like very aesthetically pleasing movie that you can see like clearly what directors he drinks from. You know, they had the same kind of frailties and the same kind of takes, you know, like counter from upside down, you know, kind of takes. They're like, yeah, you know, I can see Scorsese and, you know, and the Goodfellas in here. So it's pretty clear these are like just Latin American directors that they were like just looking up to American directors for just looking for inspiration. And then they try to actually look through that prism into the reality of the countries. So that's the reason why I think that City of God, Amores Perros is a good movie, because there is no other Mexican director that would be doing like something like this.
Yeah, I can see that. And I was actually looking up other Mexican directors that were popular, specifically at that time. And it was Guillermo del Toro and what other?
Alfonso Cuarón.
Yes.
That he did. But the funny thing is that those three, they actually won Oscars in the last 5 years to Best Director. Yeah.
What did Guillermo del Toro win for? No.
Shape of Water.
No. I completely forgot that. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, man. That year I felt like so pissed about, okay, this year was weak. But it's like, if you are giving an Oscar to this, you are sick.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, in any case, I think that Guillermo del Toro is talented from a visual perspective, but everything else is missing there. Alejandro González Iñárritu, I think that is a good director, a really good director, like Alfonso Cuarón. I think that both of them, they are like talented directors.
But don't you think that, I mean, just looking at his track history, Iñárritu is basically 50-50? It's like hit or miss, right?
The thing is, like, I'm pretty curious to see his next movie for just seeing in what direction he goes, because Beautiful was garbage. We agree on that. We also, I assume that we agree that Berman was amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that The Revenant was okay.
I feel about The Revenant what I feel about this movie is that it's just watching a lot of pain and suffering, and I don't understand what I'm supposed to get from that.
I that's the reason why I said that it was okay. I think that it was better than mediocre.
I agree, 100%. There's some here that is really interesting. You can see the mature director he becomes. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that is not as good as Berman. I think that Berman is like a stroke of genius, about like how fast-paced, how frantic it feels, how inspired all the cast is. With The Revenant, I feel that, okay, yeah, I mean, I get that both Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy wanted to win an Oscar for this. And I think that it's like Alejandro González Iñárritu was just there for it. Okay, I just need to make these guys try to win an Oscar. That's my only thing.
And then Babel was, people can argue that was weak. And then 21 Grams, I feel like it's half and half. Like, not a lot of people 21 Grams.
I like 21 Grams, but I will have to watch it again because I think that it was Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, and Naomi Watts.
Yep, that's the whole cast.
Yeah, and I like these three actors quite a bit, It's
got 80% on Rotten Tomatoes and 70% on Metacritic.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I would like to watch it again to just make sure, because when I watched it, I thought it was okay, this is an interesting follow-up to Amores Perros. But at the same time, I also felt like this tries to be experimental just for the sake of being experimental, because there is no linearity whatsoever. And I felt like, I don't know how this is going to age.
So I remember I saw this movie in 2005. I bought the DVD, watched it, and so 2005 I would have been
12?
20. No, 20. Screw you. And just thinking the same thing, like this is trying to feel like it's important and significant, and it's just not. But I would be curious 15 years later to see if I feel the same.
Yeah, so that's the reason what I say is that The Revenant, I think that is like better than average. Berman is great. And the rest of the movies is like 21 Grams. I will have to watch it again. Babel, I think that is weak. I don't think that is bad, because there is like parts of it that is good, that is like actually like a good story, but it's also like another elevated melodrama.
So that's it, right? Amores Perros, 21 Grams, Babel, Beautiful.
And Berman. Well, sorry. Yeah,
These
Beautiful Berman.
All of these are shorts. Birdman, The Revenant, and that's it. Those are 6 films.
So I'm curious to see exactly what he could do now. It's like he did The Revenant that is okay, it's not a B movie. I think that it's like a C+ or B- movie. But I think that Berman is an A.
Yeah, I hear you. And I also think this is it's better than a mediocre film. There's something here that's interesting, but overall for me, it's not worth it. I don't think I'll remember any of the stories. I don't think I would recommend this, mostly because I don't know anybody that I think would specifically like it. It's not that I wouldn't recommend it because I think it's a bad film.
I think that might be like a bit of a cultural thing. I think that I have like an easier time digesting and recommending movies that they can fall into the melodrama.
I had that same thought, as I was watching this and thinking about that last Spanish film that I will never remember the name of.
¿Quién te cantará?
That's the one.
Who will sing for you? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that is a bit more of a cultural thing. I'm fine with that. I can now, after watching like way more cinema, identify it, you know, but it's like at the same time, I am fine with it. It's a bit more like, oh yeah, that's a melodrama. I'm good. I'm fine. You know, you're trying to manipulate my feelings in cheap ways, but yeah, you know, I'm cool. I can roll with that.
I feel like as an American, I'm good with melodrama as long as there's something juicy for me, like the Desperate Housewives. Like that was a melodrama I was cool with.
Why?
Because they didn't make me watch dogs fight to the death over and over.
That's where to draw the line. But in Quinta Cantara, there were not dogs fighting to the death.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. For whatever reason, I didn't connect. Maybe I found both of those films, both this film and that film, really, really, really sad. Like, I felt sad for all of these people.
Yeah, but I mean, both of those movies, they're about maybe there is no hope. Maybe you're like just putting your love in some place that you're not going to be like getting anything out of it.
And if that's what Iñárritu wants to make is good films based on no hope, that's fine, and I'm not his market.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, honestly, we haven't scored yet. I'm pretty sure that my score is going to be like higher than yours, but it's a movie that I will watch again. I still feel like pretty bad. I think that probably the story that makes me feel the worst about is the second one of the model, where she's like just seeing all her career like just going down the drain, and it's like, oh yeah, my whole life was about my appearances, and my appearances are going away, and my lover, I'm going to have like insecurities about he left his wife for me. Why is he not going to be like just leaving me for someone else? And also my dog that is supposed to be like my just unconditional
on top of
love.
My lap at all times.
Yeah. It's like I actually just throw it down a hole. I'm never going to see it, you know. But I love how poetic it feels, how they're destroying the house.
Yeah.
It made me feel it made me think of, and you know what I'm going to say?
What?
It made me think of Mother by Aronofsky. How they are destroying the house along the movie moves along. About like this perfect house that they're moving at the beginning.
High praise. That's really high praise.
No, it's actually just saying that it's like Aronofsky is like one of the least creative directors that we have in the States. Is that everything that he has done, he has stolen it from someone else.
We're not going to take this.
But it just made me feel about like they move into this house that it feels just perfect as the love that they have for each other, as the house starts like just getting destroyed over and over until the end when she comes back and it's like I cannot even move around with my wheelchair. I'm just trapped here.
I support you, man. I just think it's such an obvious metaphor that there were already holes in the floor before they even got into the home, and then they're
No. The hole is done at the beginning. When she actually moves in, there is nothing, you know. And it's when she actually
steps into the apartment.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that it's true. It may be like a bit on the nose, you know, but I think that it works for me. I mean, I think that it's okay, I see what you're doing, and it's like, I prefer this to be done in 40 minutes of a movie than not over almost 2 hours of a fucking Aronofsky movie on opening night when they eat a baby. Is I prefer this. Thank you, Iñárritu.
And I'm sure a lot of this comes down to personal preference because, as I said earlier, after the first 45 minutes, my husband had seen it and I stopped and I said, is this going to be the whole thing because I'm not interested in seeing this? And he said, no, there's a lot more to come. So I think honestly, because I am so much a dog lover, this may have been tainted for me.
No, that's completely fair. Is that for me, it's like I love dogs, but I don't have dogs. So from my perspective, it was a bit more like...
one you can have. It's Mexican too.
So I can have Mariana.
You can have Mariana.
So she can tap me on the arm every single day.
That's the Chihuahua you think is so cute.
I find it adorable every single time that it does that. But I don't have dogs, so I understand like the pain of people when they see this movie and they have dogs. Like, I don't want to see more than dogs. For me, it's a bit more like, well, I know that probably they only drug the dogs, they didn't hurt them, so it's fine. It's still a bit, I don't know, iffy, but it's fine.
And the fact that those scenes are so effective, I think, you know, it's a sign of how talented he is as a director, and maybe my discomfort is a sign that, you know, he's a really good guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the reason why I would watch anything that Alejandro González Iñárritu puts out.
And I would too. It's not that I hated it and thought this film was so awful I wouldn't watch any of his films. I do think he's interesting and sometimes produces really good stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he actually made me love Emma Stone. So, after watching like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, that was a miracle, basically. So, good for him. He's a talented director, basically. So, who should I score first?
This was my pick, so I think you have to.
Okay, my score is going to be an 8.
Mine is going to be a 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, that's higher than I expected. Oh fuck! Sorry. This answer. I screw up my. Sorry, having a bit of. So you gave it a 7. I gave it an 8. A 7.5. It's funny because we just repeated the scores from our last recording from the Silence of a Sleep. I gave it a bit higher. It's like it almost feels like I like stuff that it has Gael Garcia Bernal more than you.
You shut your goddamn mouth. That's not true.
You don't love Gael Garcia Bernal as he deserves, man. You're just a poser.
Well, yeah, I don't deserve him, so he deserves better than me.
So it's funny that it's like now when I was watching this movie, I was thinking it's like Gael Garcia Bernal has been in a lot of movies. When you actually see his score. But the funny thing is that probably when I think about Latin American actors, probably would be Gael Garcia Bernal first and then Ricardo Darín.
Yep, those are the only two I can name.
Yep. And I had a feeling
besides
that...
like, the ones that have crossed over to American mainstream.
Like who?
Well, now, no, I can think of her. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous.
Salma
she was in that
Hayek?
really. That's the one.
Salma Hayek, okay. I'm trying to think. I was a bit afraid that you were going to say Bardem and Penelope Cruz, but...
No, they're from like El Salvador, right? That's
yeah, that's not Latin America. They're from Spain, motherfucker.
Yes, I'm very aware. Jose thinks I'm an ugly American. So.
That you don't know exactly what Spain is.
Yeah.
But no, I'm trying to think. I don't think that there are like so many recent actors and actresses, Latin American, that they cross to Hollywood.
Yeah, well, now that I think about it, I'm thinking more actresses that identify as Latinx, which is not necessarily being from those countries.
Yeah. So next week is my pick, and as you stole one of my picks, I'm going to be stealing one of yours. That is a movie I wanted to see like something a bit lighter and a bit more artistically pleasing, and I was wondering about.
Are we watching Clueless again?
Never. Believe me, never. So I wanted to watch something that it was a bit more aesthetically, clearly pleasing, and I pick one of your things in the list. One movie that I really love that I watched like many times by Tom Tykwer, Run Lola Run, that basically tries to just condense the 90s in a 80 minutes video clip.
Yeah, it's like 79 or something.
It's a super short. I love it. Alright, man. Anything else to say about Love is a Bitch?
No, just I did like it probably more than it came across in this. I wouldn't watch it again, but I do like Iñárritu.
Yeah. Cool, man. Then I think that's it for now. Whoever is out there not doing anything better with their lives than listening to us, thank you so much.
Wash your hands.
Bye.